I kind of call it a generational tsunami where you've got people of a different thinking and strategies. They want to be close to their neighbors. They want to be close to the amenities. And so as a city, we have to rethink those things. Every place we went, from convenience stores to the realtor's office to the banks to every place else, everybody was so nice, and we just thought, this has got to be our home. And the whole thing is, that's an important part of Iowa. That's an important part of things that we do. I know people say it's the Iowa nice thing, but it's a real thing, and you have to be part of that.
Welcome to Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. I'm Dave Martin. With me, as always, is my co-host and the mayor of Dubuque, Brad Cavanagh. Welcome back.
Hey, Dave. How you doing today?
Good today. We're here at the Iowa League of Cities, and we were talking with another mayor. Who are we talking to today?
We sure are. Today we have Mayor Steve Richardson from Indianola. Steve is the president-elect for the Iowa League of Cities this year, meaning that not this coming year, but the year after, Steve's going to be in that role. So, Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing well, other than a little bit of a cold that I'm getting over, and so I probably could sing baritone in any place in the city right now. So, if I could carry a tune.
We just need like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah. So what's going on in Indianola?
There's a lot of things going on, a lot of good things that are happening.
This is Leading Iowa Good Government.
Yes,
so
I understand. Yeah.
Right.
It's all good stuff.
Good.
We've got a lot of good developments taking place right now. We've just opened a couple of businesses in the community. We've got an arena that's being built for a sports complex arena for multiple sports, and along with that are a lot of housing projects right now. And so I think we have a lot of good things going on. We've also got some things we need to work on. We need to find places for a new library. We've got buildings we need to improve, but those are things that every city has to deal with as we go through the time and the evolution of the city. And so good stuff and all good things we can handle.
So you are going to be, Brad just said you were president-elect. Give us some hope about what you see across Iowa from your perspective, talking with other mayors and, taking a leading role in Iowa cities.
Well, I think that it's an interesting question because you're going to get different answers from different mayors, and depending on what part of the state you're in and whether or not you're from a large city or a small city. And one of the things that I've been kind of trying to focus on a little bit, and Brad knows this as well, is that we've got to find a way to make sure that our smaller communities are sustainable in the state of Iowa based on the tax dollars that are going to be available through some of the legislation that the state legislature has passed. When you're in a small community and you have maybe 2 full-time employees, a community of maybe 500 or less, and right now in Iowa, if I'm not mistaken, there's about 900 in some cities that are in the state of Iowa. Over 500 of those cities are less than 500 people. And so how do we as a league and an organization find ways to bring them into the fold as well when you've got communities like Cedar Rapids and Dubuque and Indianola and Des Moines that are larger cities and doing well, and some of these smaller cities just don't have the resources. And so I think the challenge of the league is to find a balance that we can do to make both work.
Well, let's talk to the immediate past president. Have you solved all these problems?
Yeah, I don't see any of this being an issue at all, Steve. I mean, no. It is absolutely the issue. And, a lot of it comes from, the show is good government in Iowa cities, right? And a lot of it comes from this idea of what government is and should be. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a real tension there right now. And I think it's there nationally. I think it's definitely there on a state-by-state basis. And in our state, that tension kind of manifests itself by tension between local governments and the state government in a lot of ways. And there's sometimes a push to make government as basic as it can possibly be. But actually something you said kind of triggered this for me because I'd like to talk a little bit more about it. You said a sports complex, and you're talking about some of the challenges you have financially, but then the people of Indianola wanted to have some sort of recreational activity there. So talk more about how that comes to be, even though we're facing a lot of these financial challenges, across the state.
Well, it's a private development that's doing that, and so it's through a TIF program, and as we well know that TIF is really important to the state of Iowa and how those things happen and how they get involved, and it will create, based on the program and the TIF agreement that we've got, a street is going to go in, infrastructure is going to go in for not only the arena that they're going to use for basketball and a number of other events as well. It's an indoor facility, but it also will include housing and a number of other things, and it will connect a certain portion of our city with other parts. And so the TIF programs in the state of Iowa are really important, but to your point, Smaller communities really probably aren't going to use TIF very often. I mean, it's hard to find.
I got to stop you right there. Define TIF.
Tax increment financing. And so it's a long process. It's a process in which, you know, the area that you're going to develop is entered into an agreement with the city in which the increase in value that's done with that particular property or created through that development will then go into a separate fund that's used to pay for infrastructure and a number of other things. It can also go into rebates for the developer, but in our case, we've used it to develop infrastructure in that particular area. So water, sewer, streets, all kind of fiber.
So it sounds like a comprehensive program. It's not just a sports arena.
It's not just a sports arena. And so what that does is that development, though, not only creates that arena area, which is going to bring in a restaurant and a hotel and other housing, but it's also going to help build a road that connects other parts of the city that allows people to move differently in the city of Indianola and avoid some of the traffic that's there as well. So it creates a whole new area.
Are you taking notes, Mayor Cavanagh?
Well,
we've got a sports complex, we've got a housing, we've got roads.
Yeah, well, and you know, I ask you this question somewhat selfishly, but then also because I hear it a lot from a lot of other communities.
Right.
That when you live in a city, people don't just want only the basic services.
Correct.
Without any of the other things that are going to be occurring. So people are, you know, and people in Dubuque right now are talking about this. We have a goal setting session next week as a city council. I guarantee you that one of the main topics of that session is going to be some sort of a sports complex.
Right.
Because Dubuque doesn't have what some other larger cities have.
Correct.
And it is something that people really want. And it is something that is probably going to come from the private sector with public assistance in some way, like you just described. So it's what the people of Indianola were asking for, and you're helping to give them that.
Well, and here's, as you well know, Brad, these are the difficult things. And the difficult things is you've got a number of folks that are concerned about their property taxes and increases in taxes. But at the same time, what do you receive for those taxes? And that's the challenge that the league right now is trying to work with the state legislature to make sure that the information the state puts out, as well as the information the cities put out, is accurate. And we're not seeing that right now from the state perspective. And we've gone to using a kind of a dollar bill to show different people in our community how their dollars revenue, where it comes from, and the revenue where it is expended. Over 50% of our revenue goes to public safety, fire, police, EMS, those kinds of things, and then you divide it out. But to your point, it's an excellent point that I was at a presentation on Tuesday night. I don't know if you know who Dayton Duncan is, but Dayton Duncan worked with Ken Burns on many of the PBS programs, the national parks, the Civil War, the Roosevelts, all of those different things. And Dayton is originally from Indianola, came and spoke to the Friends of the Library. We didn't know how many people were going to show up at Simpson College, at Hubbell Hall and Simpson College. There were over 200 people in that room listening to him talk about the effects and the importance of the library in the community. Now, you tell me that that's not an important function of our city. You know, tax dollars have to go to support some of those libraries because people want it. Here's the other interesting thing. We have a newer development in our community where a lot of young folks came in, and the city council at the time, and I wasn't on the council at the time, and I have to admit, I thought it was kind of silly, but they shrunk the size of the residential lots for a single family home to 5,000 square feet. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, those houses are going to be so close together. They are, but you walk through that neighborhood and the people go, well, I don't want a big yard. I want to be able to mow my yard with a single charge in my electric mower. I don't want to shovel snow very much. I just want a small sidewalk, right? I want to be close to my neighbors. I want to be able to have a conversation literally from my drive.
I was going to ask that. Does it build a stronger community?
Well, that's a great question, and I think it does. And so those folks are moving in that area because it's on a bike trail. It's close to the wellness center. It's close to the other amenities in our community, and the bike trail accesses most of our community.
And this is the kind of housing that people are looking at across the nation, is it not?
It is.
Because it's quicker to build.
Yes.
They're smaller homes, so they're more affordable.
I don't know if they're smaller, but they're affordable, yes. That's correct.
They're affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not building, big 10-family homes here. And they can fit into a smaller area. So it does a little bit of, in some cities, I know, downtown renovation, right?
Well, so what it does for the developer as well is that they can put more lots on a smaller parcel of land, but at the same time, it helps them. But it helps these folks that really want that. The people I talked with, a couple of them, not all of them, but a couple of them said, well, we almost prefer the row houses. We like in New York, for instance, in Brooklyn, the row house. And if they didn't have a yard, they'd be thoroughly pleased with that, right? So that's the difference we're seeing in our community. I'm with the gray hair community, right? And I think, man, I want a yard. I want to be a little bit separated from my neighbors, that kind of stuff. These folks don't want that. And so I kind of call it a generational tsunami, where you've got people of a different thinking and strategies. They want that infill in the community. They want to be close to their neighbors. They want to be close to the amenities. And so as a city, we have to rethink those things a little bit. And understand that. Now, do we tie it to property taxes? That's the debate too. Do we move to property taxes or sales taxes versus property taxes?
Well, let's ask the mayor. I mean, in Dubuque, I know, like every city, you have housing challenges. Is this the kind of thing you're looking at too?
It is, and I don't think we're doing anything that's really outside of the norm in Dubuque of what other cities in Iowa are trying. I mean, this tax increment financing tool is an incredibly helpful one for a city like Dubuque to be able to do things like create housing and create commercial spaces and create industry with jobs and all those different things. So we're absolutely asking these same tax questions, and it's, we don't want to just keep jacking up people's taxes and rates to keep doing all these things. It is a balancing act that you have to strike.
Well, I don't want to discount the home builders and the single family home, but the single family home on a half-acre lot, to run a street and sewer and water and everything to that facility, it's going to take probably 50 years for you to recoup the cost of that through your taxes. That's just the honest fact. I mean, you're not going to be able to collect that. Whereas if you build multiple homes in a smaller area and do mostly dense infill in those particular areas, you're going to have you're going to get more bang for your buck. There's a group called Urban 3.
And you're going to get more houses quicker.
This is true, and you're also going to
which is an issue you have to look at, right?
It is, and it's also going to provide affordable housing for those folks that are looking to get into something that they can get into for a while, and if they want to move out of that, that's fine. But I got to tell you, these young folks I'm talking to, they don't want to move out of that. They want to stay there. They want their kids to be on. It's a different mindset.
I want to go back to something you said about libraries, because I've talked to lots of folks about libraries. Sadly, we could be looking at massive cuts to library services across the nation. What did you do to make sure that your library stays vibrant?
Well, we're in the process of trying to find a new home for it, to be honest with you. It's outgrown its current facility. The community donated money, and actually was donated money in the 1980s when my mom was the mayor at the time. That's not true.
I have to ask, does your mom approve of what you're doing?
If she was here today, she might approve what I think she probably would. She'd be sitting here with me. So don't get me all blubbery here.
All
okay.
Right, sorry.
All right.
Libraries. Back to libraries.
Back to libraries. Thank you. Not my mom.
Yeah.
So the point is that we need to build a new library. The concern right now is where do we do it and how do we do it? And so we've gone through in Indianola. I don't want to get off track too far here, but we've gone through a couple city managers, the interim city man. Our city manager resigned in December to take another job in Utah. We had an interim for a short period of time, and then we had another interim until we hired our new city manager in June. And so through that process, we've lost a little momentum. We've got to regain that and get that back.
Sure.
And so we're hoping to do that here in the next 3 or 4 months, and then have a real plan in place by early next year to move forward with the new library. Again, it's going to have some cost to it. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to do that and how we pay for it. We'll probably have to go to the voters for a bond issue if the council approves that. But I've always been in favor of, hey, listen, you know what? Let the people make the choice. If that's what you want the libraries. Based on that 200 folks that were at that Dayton Duncan thing on Tuesday night, I don't think there'd be an issue, to be honest with you. But you never know. There's always people that are against some of the things in our community.
Always,
so,
but I think especially recently, people have shown that libraries are important,
right.
That it's not just checking out books. People work there. They have story time for kids. There's lots of activities at the library beyond just, checking out a book.
Our library the last 5 years has been on just an incredible trajectory upward of the number of people that come in and attend and look at things and do things in the library. I mean, the numbers are increasing dramatically. I mean, they showed a chart, and you can't visualize it here because I can't do that on a radio, or on a program.
Right.
But it's literally an upward trajectory of about 3 times of where it was the last five years ago. And so our small community library is bursting at the seams with all of this activity that's going on with our library staff, with all the programs they've got. And I've had people ask me, well, why do we need a library? Everything's going digital, and these kinds of things. Well, you know what? That's not the only thing a library does. You don't just check out books, but Their electronic checkouts are through the roof as far as people checking out books electronically, and there's a lot of different things that we're doing in that library. A lot of kids programs. I mean, that library staff. We had an awards banquet at the end of the year. And I told the library folks, I'm sitting at your table next year because you folks are the most fun group in this organization.
Did they want you to join them?
Oh, I don't think so. I think they want me to sit back over here, but that's okay.
You're not part of the fun group?
I hope so, but I guess not. So
I'll just say Steve's part of the fun group. I'll just make sure that everybody knows that who's listening right now. Right. Well, and I think it speaks to, what you're talking about too is community building.
Oh, absolutely.
It really comes down to it. I mean, this idea of having places where people can gather. It's funny that you bring it up because we've talked a lot about that on this show. I mean, we talk a lot about, especially in smaller communities, where everybody gets an opportunity to come together. But even in your larger communities, you have these places where people are gathering, and it builds trust between your neighbors. It builds the community that people know each other and want to spend time together, and it just makes it a healthy, happy place to live.
To your point, the library is a great place for that. You see constantly families with kids in there. But I was asked by our community and recreational chair to do a senior citizen bingo on a Friday afternoon at this activity center, okay? I walk in there, there's probably 50 older adults in there, and they were telling me the entire time how to do bingo, right? I mean, how to call a number, right? It's pretty hard to say B35, right? Okay, but if I wasn't getting it right, they set me right, and they said, this is how you do it.
See, this may be why you're not at the fun table.
Well, this could be true. No, but listen, it was fun, and so I played along, and they were great, and I'll probably be asked back because they thought it was, they come up to me later and said, oh, we had a lot of fun today, and this was going fine.
All right, good.
To your point, one other thing, too. At our wellness center, we have a coffee area, and to your point about where people gather, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, they have an older adult swim class, and they have an older adult aerobics class. 70-some people attend that aerobics class. There's probably 45 people in the swim class, so about 115 people. That place is packed on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and they gather, they go to those things, and then they'll stop and have coffee. They'll do other kinds of things. So those are the things that people want today. Our wellness center is one of those things. There's other places that they can go, like the activity center on a Friday afternoon for bingo. We do have those things, and those are critical things to fund, but people don't see the need of those like they do police, fire, and other things. Don't take me wrong. Those other departments are critical, but at the same time, we need to fund those other things too.
Well, that's all part of government, right?
Oh, it absolutely is.
All right,
yes.
now we're going to get to the heart of your thoughts.
Okay.
So now we're going to ask you, that was the easy part. Here's the hard part. Are you ready?
I don't know if I am or not. We'll see.
We'll see. What makes Indianola a real Iowa city?
I think when it's interesting. I had a young family. We did Mayor's Youth Council, which has about 20 high school kids in it that we meet twice a month. They put on a bike fest every spring in late May. And we get bikes donated by some of our local businesses, and we get bike helmets donated and those kinds of things for kids that don't have bikes and bicycles. But we also have a little thing that kids that have bicycles, they can go through a little kind of a road course and stuff and do fun things with it. And at the end of that, we raffle off some bikes to kids that don't have bikes, right? So I asked to deliver one of the bikes to one of those families, and got to talking with them, and I said, how long you folks lived here? Because they bought a house of a family that I'd known most of my life. I'm an old guy, so been in town most of my life.
But
as
you're
well.
still wearing your high school varsity
I
jacket.
still have my high school and this,
Right,
people
good.
are going, you're an idiot, but that's okay.
But you're a fun idiot.
I'm a fun idiot, yeah. So I asked him, I said, where are you from? He said, well, we're from Eastern Iowa. We're from a small town, and we kind of moved here because of our jobs. And I said, what brought you to Indianola? And they said, when we came into town and we were looking for a place, we didn't want to be in Des Moines. We wanted to be a little bit smaller town. We came down here, and the people were so nice that every place we went, from convenience stores to the realtor's office to the banks to every place else, everybody was so nice, and we just thought, this has got to be our home. So it's the schools, it's the people, it's the things about the communities. And Brad, you know this in Dubuque as well. I found out, I travel through Dubuque when I go visit my daughter in Madison all the time. And the people are the same there. They're friendly, they're nice, they're welcoming. And the whole thing is, that's an important part of Iowa. That's an important part of things that we do. I know people say it's the Iowa nice thing, but it's a real thing. And you have to be part of that.
Yeah. That absolutely is a real thing.
It absolutely is a real thing.
We got to remind your daughter that she needs to live in Dubuque rather than Madison. It's so much closer for you. Yeah.
Her husband works at Epic, and so that ain't going to change. I can tell you that. So
we'll keep working on that.
Yeah, keep working on that.
All right. So our next question. Now, good government can actually be kind of difficult to deliver.
Right.
But what has been a pleasant surprise for you in running your city?
I think the pleasant surprise has been, a lot of times city staffs get maligned. I think they deal with folks on a regular basis, daily basis, every department and everything. But I have got to tell you, I find our city staff to be professional, extraordinarily helpful people that are willing to go above and beyond. There's been evenings when I've forgotten something. By the way, my office is actually the reception desk in the city hall because we're cramped for space. So people walk in and they don't know. I don't think they know that the mayor's sitting there, which is fine with me. I just assume they didn't know. I just assume. I won't talk to your city manager, Brad. They have to say, hey, we need to move the mayor to the reception desk.
Does it say information right next to your name?
Yeah, it does. My name's not there, so that's okay. But the staff is so incredibly dedicated. I walked in one night, I left some stuff at the desk, and I walked in there, it was like 6 o'clock at night. My human relations person or human resources person is still there. My city clerk is still there. My assistant city clerk is still there. The fire chief is still there. I mean, it's just a regular Wednesday night, right? Walk in the office and they're still there. And I say, you folks can go home. Well, we want to get this done because, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's incredibly dedicated people. It's the people that make the community. And this is true not only of staff, but it's the people that you deal with on a daily basis that make the community.
So this show is called Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. Tell me about a good government project that you've had a hand in that you're proud of.
Well, mayor's, if I were a mayor contest one day, I've been trying to get the school district to get involved with that. Our local online and published newspaper, I sent some stuff to them. I said, hey, is this something you'd be interested in running and looking at? And they're starting to get involved with it. The Mayor's Youth Council, I think, is a great project that we're doing. And we've done that for years in Indianola. I've inherited that, but I got to be honest with you, those kids are incredible. I had a young lady, we at the football game last Friday night, we set up a table for a group called Unravel. It's a group that looks at trying to raise funds for prevention of childhood cancer. One of the ladies that is at the forefront in our community, her daughter had childhood cancer at about 7 years old, is cancer-free at the moment. Very involved in this group called Unravel. We were at a Mayor's Youth Council meeting 2 weeks ago, and somebody said, well, could we do something at the football game for these folks? Because she came and spoke to the Mayor's Youth Council. And one young lady stepped up and said, yeah, I'll help organize that. And man, does she, I mean, you're talking a high school junior here that steps up, organizes that, works with the city staff, works with the lady that came and spoke with the group. We had a table at the football game. They sold those wash-on tattoos and stickers, and then we raffled off a package of things that they had gone around and they got businesses to donate, from $25 gift certificates and all kinds of things.
Okay, so a lot of good stuff with the Youth Council.
Yes.
That's led to a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, but they've raised $700 in one night, which I thought was incredible for a bunch of things that only cost a couple of bucks.
Wow, that is incredible. All right, final question, Steve. Here we go.
Getting a little loud in here, isn't it?
So what is your favorite place in Indianola?
Well, favorite place as far as a business or my house?
Just your favorite place. What's your favorite place in Indianola? It's not a trick question. What's your favorite place in Indianola?
Besides my home, it's probably the park I live next to and the bike trail that it's on, to be honest with you.
Do you ride on the bike trail?
I do. I walk the bike trail too.
Steve Richardson, the mayor of Indianola, thank you. It is a pleasure having you on. Thanks for stopping by.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
All right, Brad. Well, thank you very much. Another episode, another city in Iowa we got to explore today.
Yeah, it's always great. It's
always
a nice
great.
Tour of Iowa.
All right. Yes, it is. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Now that you've listened to Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities, make sure you listen to The Good Government Show, another show from Valley Park Productions. On The Good Government Show, I talk with mayors, commissioners, and leaders from across government about what works. We talk about what government means and how we can get the best out of government. So join me right here where you're listening now to The Good Government Show. That's our show. Thanks for listening. Join us again right here for the next episode of Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. Make sure you like us and share us with your friends. Follow us on Facebook. Leading Iowa is a Valley Park production in association with the Iowa League of Cities. The show is executive produced by Katie Wheeler and Brad Cavanagh for the Iowa League of Cities. Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder are executive producers for Valley Park Productions. Our show is edited and produced by Jason Stershic.